So the other day, I was sitting on my bed eating pizza rolls and drinking a Yoo-hoo, a very balanced diet, and this totally normal, benign question popped into my head. Is the MCU woke? I hear this term a lot in pop culture. Woke, woke, woke. Star Trek is woke. Star Wars is woke. Marvel is woke. There's an attack on men. There's an evil agenda. So I'm here to analyze this situation and tell you if I think Marvel has really become woke, or if maybe certain people use that word too much and weaponize it just to get views. And I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not a bleeding red conservative redneck that hates all forms of progression, but I'm also not a white knight feminist that champions for diversity. I'm just a dude in the middle of it all who tries to critically analyze things. So I'll try to be as objective as possible. First, let's define what woke actually means so that we can start from a solid baseline. Woke is an alert to injustice in society, especially in racism. Other websites have being woke as a strictly racial thing, but it seems like it can apply to any injustice you see. Now, I know the internet definition of woke is anything that doesn't have a white man in it. So if it doesn't star a white man, it's automatically woke. I don't necessarily agree with that because sometimes a creator just has something else in mind. Usually, a writer of a story will insert themselves into said story. So it only makes sense that the more opportunities that women and people of color get, the more we will see them in media. But by the actual definition, if Kevin Feige and the people at Marvel see having only white men in their movies as a social injustice, and they are trying to actively change that, they are in fact being woke. I guess it's all about intention and what you deem an injustice. Is having only white men in your movies actually an injustice? I don't think so. But that's the tricky part because we can't really attribute motive. Or can we? Let's look at the first 4 phases of the MCU and see when they moved the pendulum, and if they moved it naturally. Phase 1 has 6 projects, all starring white men. 1 single woman side character. Basically 0% diversity. Phase 2 also had 6 projects, with all of them starring a white man. 2 of the movies had a woman co-lead, so about a 16% diversity rate. Phase 3 had 11 projects, and 4 out of the 11 either starred a non-white man, a woman, or had a woman as the co-lead. About a 36% diversity rate. Phase 4, in total, as we know so far, will contain 18 projects. Out of those 18, 14 of them either had or will have a non-white man or a woman as the lead or the co-lead. That's a 77.5% diversity rate. Now, looking at this slate, it is hard to miss the complete shift in content. They're sending a pretty clear message to us all. Guys, look. We're open to different stories and different backgrounds. And hey, I'm a white man. I can admit that comic books and comic book movies have been dominated by white men forever. That's just how they were drawn and how the creators intended them to be. The first couple phases of Marvel stayed true to this. If you think that's an injustice, that's up to you. I personally don't think it's an injustice to stay true to the classic comic books. But I can admit that if I wasn't a white man, I would also be like, hey, can we get something else in here? Whether we like it or not, they're shaking things up, ruffling some feathers. But when you look at how they're treating these characters, it's hard to deny that they are overcompensating a bit. The medium has been flooded by so many white men for so long that Marvel has been trying to overcompensate by blatantly throwing women and people of color in there. I can't deny it. It's pretty clear. Captain America is now a black man. Hawkeye is now a girl. Thor is a woman. Hulk has become useless, so we get his female cousin. Layla becomes a superhero for no reason and takes some of the shine away from Moon Knight. Scott is the incapable moron and Hope is the competent one. Loki has to have a female counterpart. Peggy becomes Cap. Ironheart is just a ripoff Iron Man. America Chavez is gay. Taskmaster was a woman. But is this a problem? Is it something to bitch and moan about all the time and make 500 videos about? Well, yeah, sometimes. Because they are doing these things whether they make narrative sense or not. Whether it benefits the story or not. Kevin Feige said on record that he didn't bring Doctor Strange into WandaVision because he didn't want the white man to save the day. Made no sense. The A-Team scene in Endgame makes zero sense logistically, and it was just thrown in there for a woman power moment. Big spoilers for Multiverse of Madness. When Wanda fights the Illuminati, she easily kills the two most powerful members of the team, and the women survive the longest. I just did a video on it. It makes no sense. The final battle in a Doctor Strange movie is between two women who aren't Doctor Strange. Makes no sense. The Eternals look like they were cooked up in a goddamn diversity factory. If they are alien beings created by the same celestial away from planet Earth, why do they have a Mexican woman, white Irish guy, black guy, Chinese British woman, white British guy, Pakistani guy, Korean guy, white girl, and a deaf Mexican African American woman? It makes zero sense. Marvel was just like, we'll take one of each. So they're doing it whether it makes sense or not. That's the problem. If it makes sense, it's totally fine. Why can't a black man be a superhero? Why can't an Asian man be a superhero? Why can't a Pakistani woman kick ass? I think where they're running into problems is the storytelling of how these people are getting to these positions. Is it natural? Does it make sense for the story? Does it feel forced? Was it earned? I think in a lot of these cases, it's not. As I mentioned, a lot of these characters are just coming in and taking the mantle of heroes before. Instead of giving us new and inventive characters that just so happen to be diverse, they're just building them up off the name of an already established superhero. That's so incredibly lazy and creatively bankrupt. And that actually makes you look worse, because you're telling the audience that you don't think they'll care about these characters unless they have a name that you know and love. They don't think they can stand on their own, so they have to make them carbon copies. I think that's even more disrespectful. And I know it was like this in the comics as well, but I hated it there too. It's lazy. We are getting a few new and unique characters, but you'll be hard pressed to find a character that is new and truly stands on their own without having to use a previous IP. And we can't deny how this looks. 10 years with mostly all white men. White man, white man, white man, white man. Oh shit! Take them all out. Take them out. They had their time. Let's make it 25% white men. Yeah, that'll balance it out. And also, let's throw some racism in there that has literally never existed in the MCU. That's a great idea. Have Sam's entire character be based on something that the MCU has never even established as a problem. Now, that being said, come on guys. The majority of the movies still have white men in them. They're still there. They aren't killing them all off. But does this mean that Marvel Studios has an agenda? Yes, they've always had one. Make as much money as possible. Marvel's agenda is always to make money and be profitable, no matter what the cost. They chase trends, they listen to fans, they edit things for China. They will do whatever they must to get that fat dollar. And now, being diverse is what they think they have to do to be successful. So in a way, they do kind of have an agenda. They kind of are being quote-unquote woke. And being privy to social injustices is not a bad thing. But the bad part is that I don't think they're doing it for the right reasons. I don't think it's because Kevin Feige and his team cares deeply about women and people of color and they want to see them get equal opportunities. No, they're just a demographic they have to hit. Give me an Asian guy. Give me a woman. Ooh, give me an Asian woman. Hey, is being gay in right now? Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's throw in hints of that and see what happens. Oh wait, what about deaf people? Oh yeah, I forgot about them. Go ahead and throw in one somewhere. They see the world in greenbacks, not morality. Did Kevin Feige not care about women, people of color, and queer people back in 2010? Has he genuinely changed as a man and realized the error of his ways? Or is he chasing trends? I don't know. I can't say for sure. We do know that he apparently always wanted more diversity, but Ike Perlmutter didn't think that movies with black people and women in them could be successful. So maybe it is in good faith. Maybe he would have done this all along if he had full control. I don't know. But to answer the question, is the MCU becoming woke? Kind of. Maybe? I don't think that there's a war against straight white men or anything, but I definitely don't think they're doing it for the right reasons. People do weaponize this term to make outrage videos too often, and it's not that bad. It's not the end of the world, but it's also not something that I think we should just ignore and blindly accept. Every single person on the planet matters. It doesn't matter your race, gender, sexual orientation. We're all just people. Just write good stories with good characters. And don't worry if they're black or Mexican or gay or straight or whatever. If they so happen to be, okay. But don't make that their identity. People are more than that. I thought that was the point. Alright guys, I want to know your opinion on this. Is the MCU woke? Or do you agree with me that it's a little more nuanced than that? Let me know in the comments. I really appreciate you listening to me babble on for a bit. And until we meet again, peace out.